Welcome again to another episode of Digital for Everyone, where we try to break down the digital world week by week into small topics. As always, I'm your host, Robert DeGans, and this week is going to be a little bit different. So, normally we have two people on. Sorry. Normally we have one person on and I speak with that person, but today we're actually going to have both co-founders of CarryPay joining us today, and I think it's going to be a very interesting talk because this is more on the technical side. Welcome Shannon, welcome Keman. This is more on the technical side of digital. It is not so much marketing, but it's an important factor, right? Because one of the key things that digital advertising, especially in the Caribbean, which, I mean, depending on where you go, it may be, wasn't as developed or things like that. But essentially, one of the key things is that it's always been a pain to register for something. Like if you're trying to get a loan or buy a car, even get a phone, you have to bring, at least in Trinidad, I don't know, Shannon, let me know if it's different where you are at, but it's two forms of ID, a job letter or a pay slip, and you have to bring a proof of address, which means that you have to have another bill that's being sent to your place. And it's annoying because you have to send this thing in, you have to bring it in, so that's one trip, and they're never ready for you because they have to do all that review, and then they get back to you in a week, and you have to make another trip and say, okay, cool, am I approved for the loan? Can I do whatever? It's a real pain. Welcome, Louis. So, sorry, not Louis, that's my nephew. Lewis and Kesha are going to be joining us shortly. Let's see if we just pull Lewis in there. All right. Lewis and Keisha. Oh my God, I cannot believe I'm getting their names wrong. I've been doing this for too long, guys. We're waiting for him to join. Hello, hello.
Hello.
Long time. How is everybody?
Right. How are you?
Good.
That's good.
So guys, just a quick background. I met Keisha, I don't want to age us, but it was a long time ago when I was working for another company, and we happened to win the bid for a website whose development did not go as planned. Let's just put it that way. And I crossed paths with Lewis quite by accident in my last job. Literally sort of in the halls. You were there talking to my boss and my cousin, and I was kind of probably just walked by and said hello, and that was it. So very small world. But guys, today Lewis and Keisha are here to talk to us about sort of not just KYC, because I just call it KYC because that's how I know it, but it's more of the whole topic of customer onboarding, due diligence, and digital ID. So before I let you guys go and explain everything to our guests, I just want to give a little background. So Keisha Julian and Lewis Kinley combine over a decade of data analytics and regulatory experience at the national and regional level, with nearly a decade of agile software development and leadership in service of Fortune 100 finance and tech firms. So these are the people we need to talk to when we want to get our KYC up and running, right?
Definitely.
Yeah. All right. So I don't know who. I mean, I have so many questions, so I'm just gonna let you guys start and tell me about the company and kind of what you guys do. We'll start there.
You want to go? Go ahead.
All right. Well, so when we started this a few years ago, the whole the underlying thing was really how do we empower people in the Caribbean to be a part of the digital economy?
Right.
Of course, like so many folks, we thought in the beginning that would be payments, so we called our company CarryPay.
Right.
And now we're the pay company that doesn't touch payments.
Okay.
So as we went through that, we really saw where the obstacle to setting up payments on your website and things, a lot of that actually comes back to how you open your merchant account, how you open up all your other accounts that you need to facilitate that. And that whole process is just so
It's super manual, super people-based, especially now in COVID. where you have to now spend an hour outside the bank just to get in to go open an account.
Yeah.
So what we're trying to do is to just really move that from being physical to digital, and to
Okay.
make it go from hours and days to seconds.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. That, I mean, from my, when I say limited experience, I have a mortgage. I've applied for different loans and stuff like that. It can be a very painful experience. You know, you bring in all the information, which I alluded to, you know, the two forms of ID, the job letter, the proof of address. You bring in all that, and then you have to come back a week or two later, and then maybe they've lost your stuff, or maybe, you know. So you guys are digitizing that process. That's correct?
Completely, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And where do you see the value other than the immediate like value to customer? What's the value of to the bank or to the institution for doing that?
It's a combination of efficiency and effectiveness. So
Okay.
if one teller or one bank, a loan officer has
Right.
to take an entire day to deal with one customer, by digitizing that process now, they can actually serve multiple customers per day. So
Okay.
just in terms of efficiency, the banks are now able to process more customers, so generate more business for them.
Okay.
So we are pretty much reducing the cost of compliance, and also on some level reducing the risks for them, which can also lead to financial costs as well.
Okay, so it's a savings for the company in the sense that the time that it took them to do one customer, they're doing 5. Right? In terms of, I mean, not to give away things, but because there's a lot of what I would call freelancers, people who sell cars and things like that. They're very much an individual representing a company. Can they use something like this, or is it really something that you need to be a business for?
Well, eventually we want to get to the point where freelancers can use it.
Okay.
Right now it's more business focused, and we're trying to create an ecosystem where
Right.
everyone will now have the QKYC app, where you as an individual will have your documents digitized on your app, and if you want to go open an account with another firm, you can just say, hey, I have the QKYC app. Do you use QKYC? And
Okay.
if they say yes, just go ahead and send them that
Okay.
the tech side of it.
Okay, right. You know what? I didn't even ask that question. So, Lewis, you're the tech side, and Keisha, you are the regulatory and that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, Lewis, I mean, obviously, don't give away the secrets and the coding, but how does that process work? You know, because I'm assuming that every bank is different. Every company stores their information in a different way. Like, how does that work on your end?
Yeah, well, you're absolutely right. Everyone stores their things a little different. And in some cases, that's a little bit scary, you know?
Right.
If that's not a core competence, if IT is not really the core of your business, it's really easy to do that wrong.
Okay.
So we've taken the approach that, you know, by helping them do that a little bit better, you know, we can really improve it for everyone. So you upload your stuff, it gets digitized, processed, gives the business that clean data that then they can use to connect things like their marketing systems or whatever else that right now, when all those records are on paper, it's really hard to know that, hey, this person that came and, you know, watched my IG live now actually came and tried to open up an account. But when it's all digital, it's a little easier to connect.
Okay, fair enough. Sorry.
The system is a little bit interoperable. So through APIs, I know Keaton, through APIs and things like that, we're able to connect with different aspects of a company's, different companies, the software in the companies.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Something along those lines.
So, what you guys are doing, because you're not going to each company and say, we're going to build your KYC thing. You're saying, we've built it, let's just hook it up and we'll make it easy for you. Okay.
Yeah.
When we talk about due diligence, right? I mean, I'm exposed to international standards of due diligence where people are like, well, we need to make sure you're not a terrorist and stuff like that. But what does that really mean down in Trinidad in the Caribbean?
It means the same thing actually. So
Hmm.
what happens is that locally we have to adhere to not just local standards but regional and international
Okay.
standards as well. So when you do go into a bank to do any sort of opening of an account, they do AML and CFT checks on you to make sure that you are not on some international blacklist and that
So
you're not
what is
somebody who's been flagged.
what is AML and CFT? I'm learning new things there.
So AML is anti-money laundering
Okay.
and
Okay.
CFT is counter financing of terrorism. So
Okay.
if you're on any of those lists,
Well, I mean, I don't.
technically the bank's not supposed to do
You need
business.
money to launder, right? So I think I'm clear on that list. And then you had mentioned about sort of having. So I would own my sort of KYC information, and I would go to people and say, okay, well, I want to do this. So here's my, for want of a better word, KYC card that validates that I live at this address, and these are my IDs and stuff like that. Where do you see that? I mean, going and assuming that you get the banks and the major financial institutions, but what does that mean for the future?
Yeah. Well, when you look at a lot of the changes that have been forced on us and a lot of the conversations that have been happening over the last couple of years, both locally in Trinidad and regionally and really globally around e-identity and, you know, having this digital proof that you are who you say you are.
Right.
So we see that, you know, all these things that you're proving to a bank, you have to prove these all over the place. It's not just your bank, it's your insurance company, it's
Right.
when you buy a car, it's just so many
When you-
different cases.
When you get set up a cell phone bill, you know, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Um.
So,
Yeah. I'm sorry. Continue.
oh, I was just going to say, giving the individuals the ability to hold that and reuse it just saves you so much time from your daily life that that's really the underlying thing.
Okay. In terms of safety, right? I mean, I like to think that the people who look at my copy of my bank statement or my address on my water bill don't care enough to like keep that information. But is it safer to use a system like yours as opposed to all of these paper copies that are in somebody's filing cabinet somewhere?
Well, yes, definitely, because we delete the data after a certain amount of time, right?
Okay.
We
All
process it and give it back to the company that we processed it for, and then we get rid of it. So they,
Okay.
of course, have legal requirements to hold it for a certain amount of time. But I think as we've seen over the last several months, it's not just paper copies anymore, right? Agents and bankers are taking that over WhatsApp. And,
Oh, yeah.
you know,
That's
other
true.
channels that now that photo of your ID is hanging out on your insurance agent's phone,
Oh, yes.
and you really
Okay.
don't know where that's going.
That reminds me, I need to talk to my agent about those pictures. So, have you? I think the most interesting. I mean, guys, in the comments, if you have questions, please shoot them out. You know, this is an open forum as well. But what do you think? Well, not what do you think. How has the response been from, like, I'm assuming you guys went to the big banks first, but how has the response been from the corporate community? Is it like open arms, or are they really like, I don't know, man, I don't think we can do it?
Well, pre-COVID, people were a little bit hesitant because, you know, once dealing with financial institutions, they are naturally risk averse.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
we've seen definitely seen an uptick in interest given COVID and the restrictions of having persons physically come into a location, as well as the health risks. So you're seeing a lot more people now showing a lot more interest in using our system to onboard their customers and just to innovate their compliance process.
Okay. So you would say COVID has done good things for you guys in terms of pushing. I don't mean that to sound facetious, but you know, in terms of pushing people towards digitizing their processes much faster than they would have. I think I read an article where it had pushed people 3 to 4 years ahead of their development schedule of what they were thinking about. Well, maybe we'll do this in about 3 to 4 years, and they're like, well, we need to do it now because nobody is allowed to come inside. Just a quick
they really
point.
have no choice.
Just a quick point from MZ View. Hi, Lewis. Excellent session on blockchain this morning. So I see you've been busy.
Thank you. I'm not sure who NZ is, but thank you for tuning in.
You have fans. Well, as she brought up blockchain, is it a blockchain type system, like, or is it just purely we built is it a website? What is it? What is QKYC?
Wow, it's really a comprehensive suite.
Okay.
It's a platform that's built on some technology that we've built ourselves with a handful of folks here in Trinidad, and really some stuff that's been developed by the, I guess, international community around digital identity, which does allow us to leverage blockchain and some of the security features of that. If you think about, as a very unrelated example, Bitcoin, the technology that secures billions of dollars of Bitcoin every day, is essentially the same technology that we can use to secure your identity documents.
Okay. I mean, sorry, go ahead.
So we offer a number of services from using OCR, that is object character recognition, using ICR, HDR, which is reading handwritten text off of pages. So we lift the information off of the scanned documents that you take with the pictures that you take with the app, and then our system lifts that information and puts it into the dashboard where persons could go in, any company could go in and view and approve or disapprove depending on what the needs are. So it's a fully comprehensive system that anybody can use once you are required to do some sort of compliance.
Okay. And sorry, you were going to say something, Lewis?
I was just going to follow up on the question that just popped up in the chat there, which segues really nicely.
Yes. And the viewer is asking, is the product, because people who watch the replay aren't going to get to see it, is the product or app regulated? Examples, CBTT, FIU, etc. And what is the framework in which you operate? Asking really good questions.
Yeah, so the central bank and FIU put out their customer due diligence and anti-money laundering guidelines, which our clients have to comply with. So the primary things that we're governed by are like the Data Protection Act and how we hold and manage people's personal information. Our clients have to comply with a whole slew of regulations, which is really what we've crafted our solution to help with. So we're not a regulated financial institution, so the central bank doesn't regulate us, but we really have to align to their guidelines because our clients have to go by that.
You're not regulated, but the output that you're going to output needs to be within those parameters for the to use it. Okay. And well, I'm not sure what is the framework in which you operate, but take a stab at it if you can answer that.
So I'm assuming that they're asking about like whether we're guided by CBTT or FIU frameworks. Everything that we do is in alignment with the policy recommendations put out by CBTT, which is Central Bank, and FIU, which is Financial Intelligence Unit.
Okay.
We're also.
I can promise you, I know none of these acronyms, so please help me out.
We're also guided by the Financial Actions Task Force, FATF, which is, I think it's a U.S. institution, a U.S. organization that really governs customer onboarding and basically financial services, regulation of financial services. So everything that we do is within compliance with the frameworks put forward by these organizations. Okay. So you guys toe the line. You're all above board. You've sort of read all the rules and you're playing the game as the central bank has requested. Now, I know this. Well, we spoke about CBTT, but is this Caribbean wide yet, or I'm assuming that may be the goal, but are you available anywhere else? Well, I don't know how much we can say,
No, well,
but
fine,
we are
not a problem.
definitely we're definitely approaching the point where we are getting. We will be regional.
Okay.
Our,
Well,
yeah, our clients use our technology in multiple jurisdictions throughout the region.
that is a very well lawyered answer. MZView is just, I feel like you've planted MZView with a few good questions, but
I wish.
well,
Wow,
yeah.
this.
What are the other possible use cases of your service? I mean, this is a great question, yeah.
So anybody who has to do any sort of compliance could use our service, even if you're not just trying to do compliance. Let's say I'm gonna large retail grocery chain X, if they want to have some sort of customer loyalty program and they need to get customer documents, we can be used in that regard as well. And we'll also can be used for, I don't know how much we could go into talking about some of the future plans that we have, but we're definitely expanding the scope.
Totally fine.
So we can be used in almost any business vertical. So long as you have a need to ingest documents, we can provide that service for you.
Okay, so let's take, I mean, I should have probably gotten into this really early on, but let's take a step back and because we spoke about the business side of like what the bank might do, what the financial institution might do, but the customer. I come to you and I say, listen, I'm tired of lugging around these sheets of paper and sending photos of my IDs on WhatsApp and stuff like that. How do I use this system? How do I use that? And what's the process for me to do that?
Yeah. So there are a couple ways. Really write out whether or not the business you're trying to engage with uses us.
Okay.
Right. So you're a little bit at the mercy of how quickly those businesses are moving to roll us out. In the not too distant future, you would also be able to download the app. And this is where, really the smaller businesses, real estate agents, and like you said, the, smaller car dealerships and folks like that still need to verify certain information about you, but don't necessarily want to do all the dirty paperwork that the bank may have done.
Okay.
So once you have that app and you hold that, now a business user would actually be able to connect with you and request exactly what they need from you. Okay. And you see that come in, and within your app, then you're able to see who has requested what from you, what you've shared with them, and when. Okay.
And so I'm assuming that because you said soon the app will be out. Knowing that, I mean, at least in Trinidad, most people ask for the same things. It's like 2 IDs and stuff like that. But I'm assuming there will be levels of documentation, because Keisha had mentioned that if you have any need to ingest documentation, it can do that. So could it be I don't want to theorize, but could it be a possibility where I can store most of my key information that I might need, like my my parents have this briefcase that it's literally in case of fire, this needs to leave the house, because it's like the deeds and the insurance and all the things, all of the key paperwork that literally will go up in flames. Is it a situation where maybe that can be possible, or is that sort of like in the ideas of where you want to go with this?
That is definitely any idea of where we want to go in this. We want to get to the point where this information is reusable. So you don't have to keep scanning and uploading each time.
Right.
That it's a digital copy on our blockchain that somebody can now request, and you can give them access to that information because it's already been verified by somebody else, or they can ask to now just look through to verify it again themselves.
Okay.
And I think that you bring up a really good point, which is getting to where all of this stuff is digital, and even like digital first, right? So if, for instance, insurance company just sent you your policy digitally in a format that's more easily verified than, say a PDF that you could just Photoshop.
Right, yeah. So because I know that somebody who has just joined the chat is representative of a large financial institution, I'm just going to recap what QKYC does for them, and correct me if I get anything wrong. You guys are the intermediary between the customer and the institution that helps not only verify the due diligence information, but helps send it to them in a way that they already understand it and can file it to help efficiently manage the intake of the pre-qualification documents is what most of it is for the large things. If you went for a bank or if you went for a loan or like a car or anything like that. So was that it? Was that the elevator pitch? Did I miss anything?
Yeah.
I would the only thing I would add is that we also really help make use of that data, right? So it's only so good when it's just kind of sitting there in our system, but when they can start to integrate that with additional data sources and with their systems, that's where the efficiency bump really comes from.
And this is very key to, I know, APIs.
I gotcha. Listen, I only knew, I knew theoretically what an API did. I only knew what it stood for when I was working in the company that I met Lewis with. So don't worry, I'm there with you in terms of that. So you guys you're ready, right? In other words, there's no like, if somebody came to you tomorrow, they saw this and they're like, we need this. This is going to save so much time. We can get rid of that person who's always wasting people's time and losing the documents. And we can, sorry, I don't mean to fire anybody, but if somebody wants to get in touch with you guys, how do they do that? That's really the question here.
Well, you can go to our website. We give free demos. It's at getqkyc.com.
Are you sure? getqkyc.com. All right.
Yeah.
I'm just going to put that in the chat there. No, I'm just going to put it in the chat so that anybody see it. Sorry, go ahead.
No, or you could look for us on LinkedIn. We're there, very active on LinkedIn as well.
Right. Yes, Lewis did tell me he had to reactivate his Instagram just to do this because he's not on Instagram.
Right.
All right. Guys, we are coming close to the 30 minutes. It's not so much a time limit, but I like to keep it short and concise. If there are any questions in the chat, I've turned blue. If there's any questions in the chat, guys, shoot it there. Otherwise, thank you very much for your time and your expertise. I think this is going to make everybody's lives a lot easier and their information a lot safer. It's not something that we've covered on Digital for Everyone in terms of the safety of information. And I think next season, because this is the second to last episode of this season, that's definitely one of the things I want to touch on is data safety. So this is going to be a great little segue that I will refer to, because you're giving people out your address, how much money you make and things like that. And it's sitting down on desks and in drawers and sometimes just, totally available. So is any last words for the people and anybody that, any last words you want to leave us with?
Just want to let you know that we really do help innovate your compliance process from onboarding straight to the back end. And just reach out to us and we can show you how we can really help you along with that process. Okay.
And I just want to thank you for the opportunity and thank everyone who tuned in. Some really great questions that I wish we had planted, but we're not so lucky. But I think what you mentioned there with keeping that data, that information private as well is really key and something that we're building towards. So
great. All right, guys. Well, thank you again so much, guys. If you have any questions, you can get at them at getqkyc.com, I think. And if not, reach out to me. They are on LinkedIn, Lewis Kinley and Keisha Julian. You can reach out to them directly. And you guys are live. You're ready to go. So if somebody came to you tomorrow, you could start working with them. Yeah?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
All right, great. Well, I look forward to it. I look forward to never having to bring in physical documents to a bank again. So I hope you guys roll out very quickly, and I hope to see you guys all over the place.
Soon.
All right.
Soon.
Take it easy. See you guys.
Yeah, thank you. Have a good night.
Have a good night.
You too.